This is our other pumpkin, and I'm going to try to find a good face for that to go on. The flat face is really good to put them on sometimes, and sorry for all the traffic, we're outside on a busy street. This one's got a lot of dents and holes in it though, or not holes, but just dents and bumps. So that probably won't be a good spot to do that paper on. So what I'll probably end up doing is putting it kind of on this face right here. This seems to be one of the largest faces without a lot of extra stuff like sticky over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just kind of wanting to get an idea of where the front's going to be, because when I make my notch, I always make my notch in the back. So that gives me an idea of kind of where I want to go with it. If you want to, you can lay your pumpkin down and just kind of put your pattern on there and kind of see where you want it to be. And you don't want it, this is kind of a tall pattern, so you really want a tall pumpkin for it. And you don't want it way down here because that's the bottom. You want it to kind of up pretty high. And it gives me a good idea of where I need to cut for my top. So I need to cut like pretty high up. And yeah, that'll fit right there really nicely. So where my little mess up here is, that's where I'm going to cut. I'm going to cut it pretty high up here to make my top. So I'm going to cut the top just like I did my other one with the notch in the back, cut it around and clean it out, and then I'll show you how to do the pattern. What you're going to need for this part is the pattern you want to make, a pair of scissors, and then we're going to need the saw and the little hole poker part, and you probably want some tape to be able to tape it to your pumpkin. And make sure your pumpkin's kind of wiped off and dry before you do this, because the tape won't stick. So you'll notice it gives you dotted lines on the side, so go ahead and cut that out. And you can reuse these patterns, by the way, so don't just throw them away. Big truck, sorry. You can reuse these, so don't just throw them away. Keep them in a drawer or something. And it also gives you, see these dotted lines right here on the side? Well, that's saying cut right there, and there, and somewhere over here. The reason you do that is because you're putting this flat piece of paper on a round pumpkin, and it doesn't really fit well. So what they do is they give you these places where you can kind of bend it and fold it. So I've got my notch in the back, and there's the front of my pumpkin, and I'm going to get it up pretty high, and I'm just going to put a piece of tape on the side. Hopefully I don't run out of tape, because I'm almost packages that tape dispensers are pretty low. The biggest thing is trying to get it lined up, because if you don't get lined up, it'll be crooked and it doesn't look as good. So I'll get the top first, and then you kind of wrap that up there, and you'll see it. Notice it overlaps a little bit. That's okay. We can work with it. And then I'll get this side. And again, you can see where it kind of wrinkles a little bit. That's okay. We can fold it right here to where it won't wrinkle as bad. You know, like I said, it's never gonna be perfect, but you can get it pretty good. I'm literally on the last of my plastic. I mean my tape. So, and if I can get one more piece of tape on the bottom, I think I'll be all right. Okay, now I've got my pattern down, and you want to get it as tight as you can to the pumpkin, honestly, because you don't want it buckling up and stuff while you're poking holes in it. Okay, that's pretty good. So now I'll show you the beginning of the process, and then it continues on from there. But a lot of times what people want to do is take this thing and poke it all the way through. You don't want to do that. All you want to do is take just the point and see where it starts to taper up to a flat spot right there. That's how deep you're going to go into the pumpkin. You're only going to go from the point up to about that flat spot. And sometimes you may even go that deep. It's just poking holes in it, and just go around your pattern making holes. And I'm going to show you this kind of pointy part. That's why I went this way, so you can get a good idea of how to do it. When I get around corners, I get a little closer and I go right in the corner. Notice how these are closer than all of these. and then I work my way down, and I go to the very point, and then I just come back up. And you're never going to get that point exact, but you can just get in there to where it's a little bit of an angle. And when it gets to the curvy parts, like I said, I kind of go closer together and just make holes. And it doesn't have to be perfect. The points and the curves, try to get those the best you can. But it works really good in your lap because you can move your legs around to rotate it around. And you can sit between your legs so it's not going to be rolling around a lot. So I'm just going to continue this, and I'll show you updates here and there because it does take a little while to do this. It's been about 5 minutes, and you can see where I've gone around with my thing, and I've poked. It gives these dotted lines. You're supposed to kind of cut these out to help get these fingers and stuff out. So I just made a couple little holes through those so I kind of know where they're at. And this thing kills your hands because you're holding this little bitty tool poking holes. And for me, it hurts my thumb right in here. But maybe that's just me getting old. I don't know. But anyway, it does hurt your hand after a while. So I'm going to finish this off, and I'll show you what it looks like when I get completely done. Okay, the holes are all poked around, and you notice I spend a little extra time trying to get, and you're never going to get it exact. You're never going to get a saw to curve out that perfect, like rounded off. I mean, you can get pretty close, but you're never going to get it exactly right. So just carefully peel your tape off so you can reuse them. If you ever want to. If you don't want to use them again, throw it in the garbage. You know, it doesn't cost. It was $3 for the whole book, so it's no big deal. To be honest with you, we've saved them and never reused them. So, you know, throw them in the garbage if you don't. If you're like those, you don't like to do the same patterns twice as well. We don't save them. So you can throw them away if you want, or if you want to try to save them, just tear your tape a little bit to where, you know, pull them apart to where they'll lay flat. And that's all you got to worry about. Is just getting your tape back on. Okay. Next, you'll notice, if you probably can't see, but there's a bunch of little holes. Can you? There's a bunch of little holes in there. One of the recommendations you can do is you take flour, and you can take regular, you know, cooking flour, and rub it on the front. It'll make all these little holes show up. It'll make all these holes stand out. I don't think I'll need that because I've got my picture for a reference, and I'll leave the picture right there while I'm sawing this, and I can see exactly where I need to go. And this one's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, this one's like I said, not a really complicated one. This one's a medium one. So I'm going to start taking my saw and just starting. I'll probably start in this point down here, and if you give it like a little tap, it'll go in, and you're just going to saw dot to dot, basically. And if you want curved, you know, you can start kind of curving around. If you want good straight, like angles, kind of like what they have on there, pull it out and start over again. And I'm just going to curve around, and sometimes you get this goop in your way. Just kind of got to work around it. And there's the first piece. Now I'll do just like I did for the other pumpkin. You notice how this is angled in. It's really hard to get it straight up and down. So I'll go in here with my saw once I get it all cut out. But I'll go in through here and just cut out all that angled part, and so the light can really shine through. And that's it. So I'm going to go around and do the rest of it, and I'll give you an update here and there. Okay, you can see I've got the top part out and the rip and the things like that, and there's the hand. Looks like he's sticking his middle finger up, honestly. And then I've just got the last hand to do, and then I will be done. Alright, here's the finished version of it. And these, I've noticed, really don't look like much when they're not lit up. I mean, you can kind of see where everything is, but once they light up, they really stand out. So we're going to put these on. When it gets dark, we'll light them up and let you see both of them. We're going to go out and light the pumpkin. I just wanted to show you these tea lights before I go out in the dark. They're just these little cheap, I mean, they're $1 little aluminum can, thin little lights. And would I want to light a pumpkin every night with those? Probably not. You can go buy those little LED lights that you can set for you know, $1 or $2 for those too. But You only get one of them, and you can use it over and over and over again until the batteries run down, and then you can replace the battery. These, since we don't light our pumpkin all the time, these work perfectly fine for us. So I'm going to go light it up, and then I'll show you what it looks like.